Even in the middle of winter and in freezing temperatures, there's still some crops that you can be harvesting and eating from in the garden. And one of our favorites is Brussels sprouts. So here are all of our Brussels sprouts, and you can see these ones are fully formed. Right now we are definitely freezing. In fact, could start snowing as we're walking through the garden in November here. But you can see all of these Brussels sprouts, these ones will begin harvesting down here. And then these ones are a little bit smaller. They won't continue to get very much larger now that we've reached this cold of temperatures and the low daylight hours, but they will basically stay in this hibernated stage and be just fine and allow us to continue harvesting off of these plants just standing in the garden for at least the next 4 to 6 weeks. At the time of this filming, we are in November, and I usually can harvest my Brussels sprouts all the way through until Christmas. And then at that point, whatever is still left on the stalks, we go ahead and harvest and just bring indoors and either put into a crisper drawer or I'll blanch and freeze them. And the reason for that is they will withstand the cold temperatures really well. In fact, if you have ever had Brussels sprouts that go through a freeze, the flavor is greatly improved. But if they go through too many hard freeze and thaw cycles, they can start to turn a little bit mushy. But I've had ours do very well, even getting into the overnight lows down into the 20s and been just fine. If we get any storms where it looks like we're going to be down into the single digits and they freeze that hard and then thaw, that's where they start to get a little bit mushy. So to leave them standing in the garden, you definitely want to keep an eye though on how low your freezing temperatures get. But it can be a great way in the beginning of winter or even the end part. I guess technically it feels like winter because we had snow 2 days ago and we're really cold out right now. But technically I think we're still in fall if you're going by the calendar rules. So definitely well into fall and possibly the first part of winter, depending on what your overnight lows are. Now, a lot of the garden here I've got left is a lot of our different warm weather plants. So here's the last of the zucchini plants. And then we've got some of our winter squash plants over here, but everything is pretty much dying back. So over the next couple of weeks, as the weather allows, we'll be coming through all of these rows and moving out these plants. So I'll just cut them off at the ground surface level. Leave the roots in if at all possible, because the roots will continue to break down and actually feed the soil. So there's no reason to pull the whole plant up, roots and all. Just take a big pruning shear on stalks that are this big, cut that off at ground level. Now, if your vegetation doesn't have any disease on it, some of my plants had a little bit of powdery mildew as we got to the end of the growing season, so I'm not gonna leave these in, and I'm gonna be getting them cleared out relatively soon. You can leave those in the garden to just break down and compost in spot over the winter months, only if they don't have disease on them, right? Or insects. So these I'm just gonna be pulling out just to be on the safe side because there was a little bit of powdery mildew. So after we get those items removed, then we'll go ahead and put down, I've got some big piles of compost over there, and we'll put a layer of compost on the rows, but in between the rows, we've got these wood chips. So these will just stay here in the walkways, and I'll just put the compost once we get the rest of this vegetation cleared out on these rows in the vegetable garden. So I'm also coming through, you can see we're just beginning to, the top level of the ground is frozen, but we really just got down, we were the high 20s last night. So this was the last one of my butternut squash, and I left it on the vine because we hadn't had our killing frost until just a couple of days ago, because I was wanting it to ripen on the vine as much as possible. So you can see I'm starting to get some color turn here, and there's no point in leaving this out any further. It's just going to continue to get froze. It's fine right now. I'll bring it in and we'll probably have this tonight or within the next week. But with the winter squash, if you harvest them before they begin to ripen on the vine, I have not had much success with them ripening once they're off the vine if they were completely green. If they were a little bit ripe, but not all the way, they'll continue to ripen a little bit. So I leave my winter squash on the vine until we actually have our killing frost as long as possible, if they're still a little bit green. And this one, you can see here at the top where the stem is, it has turned color a little bit. You know, it's kind of turning that creamy golden color of butternut squash, but I still have some green some green streaks here up by the stem. And you can see the stem was still green. It hadn't really started to change color yet. So it's starting to ripen, but it didn't get fully, but it'll still taste good with a lot of garlic and roasted. So this will be dinner probably tonight. So when it comes to gardening in the winter time, this is when I actually go ahead and let the chickens free range during the day. So during the summer months, the chickens tend to destroy the garden. So they stay in their chicken tractor and they get moved to fresh grass and around the yard, so they get, the best. But during the winter months, after the garden's been put to rest and the warm weather crops have all been killed or harvested and brought in, that is when I let these guys out to roam all around the yard and to eat what's left over, scratch stuff up and just be chickens. So they'll come out during the day. As you can see, they haven't been out during the day of the coop for a while. So they're kind of like, are you really letting us out? They're gonna think about it for a little bit. But they'll come out and then go back in at night, and every night I'll come back in and shut it just to keep them safe from the predators. But in the winter months, they get free reign over the garden. One of the other things when it's really cold out, though this doesn't have as much to do with gardening in November, but it is what we're doing while we're out here, and that is gathering the eggs. Because once we hit below freezing or at freezing, if I have any eggs, which I've only got a few chickens, we don't use artificial heat or light in order to make them lay. So I just got one egg this morning, but they will crack if they freeze all the way through. So I try to make sure that I come out fairly early in the morning, but at least when the sun is up, though now the clouds have moved in, and gather any eggs. So the high tunnel, I haven't gotten all the way cleaned out yet, but part of the reason is that we just had this was actually our first deep killing freeze that killed, actually, you know what? I don't even know that it's killed my tomato plants. I think it's the wind chill that's feeling so super cold. But some of these are still alive, but I knew that we would be getting that killing really fast, and the temperatures during the day weren't warm enough for any of the tomatoes that were left on the vine to continue ripening. So those have all got harvested, pulled this weekend, and are in the house, as well as all of my lettuce that had went to seed. So I'll be coming through in the next couple of weeks and just cutting the tomato plants off at ground level, leave those roots in, and pulling all of them out and doing kind of one last cleanup in here of the high tunnel before shutting it down for winter. But just like the Brussels sprouts, there are some crops that you can leave in just without really doing anything, and that is kale. So here I've got some of the dinosaur kale, and it won't grow anymore. However, whatever is on the stalk, it'll stay just fine. In fact, we have had temps with kale with an overnight low last winter of 5 degrees, and my kale leaves were just fine. Like, I came back out and harvested them, etc. So the curly kale, this is one of my favorites actually, over here. But same thing, like I'll just go through and harvest these leaves as needed. And then some of the larger leaves down at the bottom, like, they're kind of wilted and kind of past their prime. So I'll just leave this stalk in, harvest these ones from off the top, and then pull this and feed it to the cows. Cattle actually love brassicas. So this is my treat area. And so we'll pick the kale, what we're gonna harvest off it, and then I take the other leaves in the stalk out to the cows, and they'll actually just eat the whole thing. They love it. And I've kind of been coming through slowly as some of them bolted over the summer, but I left them in knowing that I would just use them as treats for the cows throughout the rest of the fall until these are all gone. I have to tell you, one of my favorite parts about gardening in November is coming back inside to the wood stove. But I wanted to show you guys, this is all of the harvest of our winter squash, as well as the dried beans that we have for dried bean and then seed bean. So this is all of the Cherokee black beans. And so the kids just went out, we pulled them off the vine once we knew that the frost and some of the wet weather was coming. And so I just have them laying out here on the bags to ensure that they're fully dry. And then I'll probably throw these in some boxes and then put them in the back pantry and not try to get them shelled out right now, just because we don't have very much time. But I wanted to make sure that they were totally dry before we went ahead and did that. And then these are the Tar Heel beans. And again, same thing. We just kind of have them sitting here. These were all These were really dry, so I didn't actually put them out in a more of like a layer fashion like we did here, because these tend to mature faster than these two varieties do. And then these ones, I was the one harvesting these, and so I was shelling them out when I was in the garden, but it took a lot longer. So some of these I have shelled out, some of them are still in the pod, and these are all really, really dry. These are fine to go into storage. When I push them with my fingernail, there's no line, but was just kind of making sure the ones inside the pod still were fully dry before we move them into storage. And then the winter squash, we've got over here, I've got my acorn squash, we've got some pie pumpkins, some delicata, and even though, hard to believe, but 2.5 weeks ago, we were getting high 70s, forecasted for 80-degree highs during the day, but our nights were still pretty cold, and then we had some rain that moved in. So I had these on the back porch to cure. However, I wasn't sure that they had gotten fully cured, and so I have them here. I'll probably keep them here for about a week, just to make sure that they've hardened up on the outside, that their rinds are nice and hard, that there's no moisture left around here. Like you can see on these guys, these are I just picked them. They're still a little bit green. There's not much color change on them. But again, they were not going to do any more developing because the vines were getting killed by the frost. This one's a little, so that's how you can kind of see the difference. This one was just beginning to turn color, so it's not fully ripe. Whereas this one, if you see color change like that on an acorn squash, then you know it's ripe. And then looking at the stems though, so the stems here are still kind of green. They're starting to dry out and get hard, but they're still quite a bit green in color. So they need to sit and dry out next to the wood stove where it's nice and warm and arid for probably a week or two. And then we'll move them for the long-term part of the storage into our back pantry where the temperatures are much cooler, the furthest point away from the wood stove. Now, the point of getting all of this harvested so that we have the benefit of eating it throughout the year is, of course, finding delicious ways to prepare it and cook it. And one of my favorite is my husband's grandma's pumpkin roll. If you have never had a homemade pumpkin roll before or never made one, then you need to go and watch this video, grab the recipe, and make it, because it will quickly become your absolute favorite holiday recipe.